Today, I'm going to attempt all 71 achievements in a rhythm-based action-type game that I think it deserves being a contender for the Game of the Year, and that game is Hi-Fi Rush. I didn't know this game existed till one of my good mate Diego did a video review on his channel, so go watch it after you finish this video and check his channel as well. He got some cool content over there. And while we're at it, give this video a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. Without further ado, let's begin. So, before starting the game, I'll be playing in the hardest difficulty, which is the very hard mode, because why not? And since the achievements will stack up for the story mode, right? And what will be a good challenge on how difficult it is?
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
The game follows a wannabe rock star named Chai who wants to get a ventilator mechanical arm attached, but after some circumstance, he becomes a defect and the corporate has a policy of no defect, which results of them of wanting to get rid of us. So the game allows us on how to feel the beat and fight enemies. We later meet a robot named Smidge who gives us tips and tricks, and finding all of them throughout the story will give us an achievement, and these gear currencies will be needed as well. After fighting waves of enemies, we meet another character, 808, and we happen to synchronize and allows us to hit enemies harder attacks, which becomes very handy throughout the game. Continue on the first track, we discover a ventilator frog, one of our collectibles, which will also be an achievement on collecting all 77. Also look out for these loot chests as it will be handy. Later down, we came across our first big enemy, which didn't take too long to beat it. We got our first achievement, feeling the beat, when fighting a small wave of enemies to land a 20 beat hit, before we have our first boss battle that we definitely have to beat after this dialogue.
I like defense.
That's good.
I like how they taste.
Oh, that's bad.
With that, we begin our battle. We fight through in phases. As the first phase, we wait for him to have his hand on the ground in order for us to hit, and continue to repeat that before we hit in the second phase, where we dodge the missile and wait for the hand to stay on the ground like the first phase. And after trial and error, after going through that, we finally defeat our first boss. After that, we meet another new phase, Peppermint, our usual hacker and guide throughout the game. With that, we were moved to the hideout where we chill, chat, upgrade with the gear currency I mentioned earlier in the video, or look at this wall of fame of achievements. And yes, this list is all the things you have to do, which I hated so much, but during the time of recording I was being optimistic that I wasn't going to suffer, and I did. Before I moved to the next track, I did the dialogue, including playing with 808, which unlocked another achievement, you can play the can. In track 2, we are to sneak into the ventilator office to obtain all 6 office keys to stop a secret operation. And as we progress through the level, Peppermint gave us a new feature, the magnet grab, which is handy as we are able to go through different platforms that are too far to reach or grab an enemy when fighting. For that, we found a collectible along the way, and not long after that, we meet our first KO statue that we need to get rid of related to the wall achievement frame, and we lock another achievement who put gears in there. Couple minutes later, we went to unlock a special attack to equip that opens another achievement I play my own way. After fighting enemies and getting help with your friends in combat, especially in the challenges along the way, we prepare ourselves to the next boss battle. We meet a HR investigator, which will unlock another achievement if I need all of them during the journey. Then we found another collectible, which is graffiti, and this is achievement if I need all 24. So I've got 23 more to go. Now it is time for our next boss, Rika. In the first phase, we just had to dodge her attack and fight her once she loses steam, and not gonna lie, I was struggling with this battle, but I managed to make it to the second phase, and she was basically electrified. so had to avoid her attacks till she was back to normal and repeat till we went to another transition to the third phase, where we used the pipes as her weapon, so she began new moves and we tried to dodge them to beat her, and finally head to a final phase where she used all her moves and trial and error, we beat her and unlock another achievement for defeating her cream of the crop. After defeating her and getting one of the keys, we went back to the hideout and found out the worst news possible. People who have ventilated part in their body, the new software of the tech, were going to be mind controlled. But luckily, with the help of chips, it allowed us to further damage enemies, help us in combo, and upgrade our tech. After equipping your chip, you unlock another achievement. Thanks for the free chip, Peppermint. In the next track, we tackle another new set of enemies that I'm already hating now because they are very annoying to beat, and they help me unlock another achievement for destroying 50 barriers for calling Peppermint, which tells you how much I wanted to punch them in real life. Not long after beating another set of enemies, I unlock another achievement for destroying 200 ventilating bots. After heading to the lab, we meet Zanzo, who gives us another technique, parry, and we find enemies to help us enhance our technique, which we gain an achievement for parrying enemies 15 times and defeating an enemy with a rhythm parry attack.
So this was our pesky test subject. Mr. Chai, was it?
No, he did
That's
not just do
Mr. Chai.
JoJo.
I
love it. I love it. After that amazing intro to Zanzo, we fought enemies and unlocked another achievement for destroying 50 barriers by calling in Peppermint, till we meet a heavy robot that we just couldn't defeat that forced us into a cutscene and ending track 3. For that, we meet 2 new faces that joins to the team, Macaroon and Cinnamon, which begins track 4, where we see Macaroon's strength by breaking through walls in brute force and helps us break the heavy armor of the robot that we couldn't defeat earlier and finally beat him. Then further down the path, we fought more enemies, starting burning Zanzo's budget and unlock another achievement on Shatter 10 enemy shield by calling Macaroon. Before finishing out Zanzo's remaining budget, we went to the store for upgrade and unlock achievement for increasing health bar. Then shortly unlock achievement for parrying a volcanic rock. We went to meet Zanzo in person and finish him off once and for all. Unlocking this will cost you big time achievement. Not too long after that, Kale and his lads shows up, which makes the gang plan to escape, making Chai tries to distract them so others can escape first, resulting him getting kidnapped and begin track 5 by busting the cell. This level was one of the grindiest, as there were heaps of collectibles to do by busting the chaos statues, these Armstrong circuits, which helps upgrade your chips, HR Investigator, Vendor Vlog, and a side mission which will unlock an achievement for doing all side missions. After opening the knots to the escape and meeting 2 new enemies, there wasn't anything worth mentioning except unlocking 4 achievements. With that, we begin chapter 6, which is one of the shortest chapters we have, where it's mostly a wave of enemies. Corsica, the head of security, put the brakes on the tram to stop, which we had to continue to fight enemies and use Macaroon to help us break the brakes. With that concludes track 6. In track 7, we already began to swarm with enemies, which helps us to unlock an achievement for shattering 50 enemy shields by calling Macaroon. After defeating them, we head up to Corsica's office, which took a while, but after reaching the top, we finally encountered Corsica. In this boss battle against Corsica was a bit different, as this was a rhythm base, which took me a few practices, but we managed to defeat her and convince her to join our team, which unlocked us another achievement and end of chapter. With that, we are halfway through and collecting the rest of the keys, which is going to be another free boss battle, Mimosa, Quackford, and Kale. With that, we head our way inside the building, which we got to see Corsica use her power as she blows flame doors and stun enemies, which becomes handy when fighting them. After fighting, we head inside and unlock achievement for reading halfway of the Vandal vlog, engaging all Smidgebot, put out 10 flyers in battle. Not long after, we unlock another achievement for putting out 50 flyers in battle and destroying 1000 bots. With that, we are done to this chapter and head to track 9, where we battle Mimosa, and my favorite track yet because of this, what? With that, we fought our way through and defeated her and got our next achievement. So we head to track 10, where we shoot ourselves with the canyon, which we end up in the cafeteria filled with enemies, which we took them down and hit our way by jumping through a platform and upgrading our chip and unlocking achievement for maximum capacity and purchasing every combo and partner attack. With that, we meet Crawford, and yeah, that happened. We fought him in 3 phases with different attacks and challenges. We managed to defeat him and obtaining another achievement. Immediately, we begin in track 11 as we get trapped in a energy cage by Kale, but didn't take too long to take it out. And this is a short one since there wasn't any collectibles to look out, so we fought small bots till we meet the giant robot, which didn't take too long as the gang joined forces to take it down with a rhythm-based attack. In track 12, we immediately have our battle against Kale, except we get mind control, and yeah, the first phase we become 808 and scratch our way to remove the device of Kale and become Chai again and actually fight Kale, and he was the toughest yet. So each phase in the hardest difficulty was such pain that I almost lost hope and sanity. Then when I finished the final phase, I didn't have time to celebrate since we had a rhythm-based sequence. To finally finish it off, it was game over. Then we got an achievement in completing in the very hard difficulty, and who's boss now for defeating Kale. With the story done and finding out I will have to play multiple playthroughs in every difficulty to unlock the achievements lost me, so I decided to do the post game first before doing the miscellaneous and collectibles. So I quickly go through it. First, I unlock an achievement for changing background music, opening the arcade machine, which there are 2 challenges that I'll mention later. Went to the training room and doing every combo, unlocking that achievement and equip a costume. Also do want to mention there is these spectre doors hidden in different tracks, giving you different challenges to complete, giving you a secret ending which will unlock 2 achievements. Now, for the miscellaneous and collectible segment, I won't go in depth since there are some trophies that are pretty explanatory, like destroying the first boss phase, revealing its shame, perform 20 parry counters, complete the ride without getting hit, and completing all side missions that I mentioned earlier. So I'll pop up the achievements in the next couple of seconds. With that done, I went to get the next couple of achievements by completing every difficulty, and doing Rhythm Master difficulty was a challenge as you'll die if your combo is below C and you had to start all over again, and it was showing itself with fighting the first boss, and I was getting copium. After trial and error and taking a break in between, I just couldn't pass it, so I just had to take the L and do other achievements that will boost my sanity. So I went to look at the arcade challenges, which are Power Up, Tower Up, and BMP Rush, which is another Hall of Fame achievement where you have to do different challenges for both sections. So I put up Power Up, Tower Up, which adds an interesting feature. When starting a new level, your abilities and chips are down the drain, and you have a choice to upgrade stats, abilities, and chips. It made me forget what it felt like to be weak, and I died not too long after that. So I looked BPM Rush, and I'm sure you're getting what we're doing, and yep, It is a wave of enemies. With each wave cleared, it increased BPM speed and enemies as well by finishing in normal difficulty, which unlocked Call Me Turbo Chai and perfectly parry rhythm attack. And this one as well. Last but not least, I checked Rhythm Tower, which adds a timer and enemies gets harder each level you clear. So definitely I struggled as defeating enemies adds time on the counter, and of course the game ends if the timer runs out, which it happened. And after 81.6 hours of gameplay, I decided to give my fedora off as this game has come to the end. And I also give my fedora to the developers for this incredible game. And if you have made it this far, I thank you guys for watching and sticking it through to the end. And I like making this content for you guys. And I do hope in the future that I 100% complete. But yeah, I don't think I have much to extend this outro except for I still love it despite the challenges I went through. It's still a blast. Go check it out if you still haven't played the game yet. Highly recommend you do. Even if you're not like achievement hunter, still check it out. It's still great. And yeah, I hope in the future I don't eat my words and I prove myself wrong, then I will beat it. But for now, I'll catch you on the next one.